The Ukrainian army uses thousands of drones daily at a front and completely disrupts all efforts of the occupiers to advance using the tactics of the First and Second World Wars. No assault groups can reliably gain a foothold in the terrain, over which dozens of enemy reconnaissance and attack vehicles constantly patrol. As a result of such tactics of the Ukrainian armed forces, the Russian offensive stalls, gets bogged down and stops after the personnel is knocked out. This is written in his Telegram channel by the former commander of the Illegal Armed Formation, DPR, serving a sentence in a Russian pre-trial detention center, Igor Girkin-Strelkov. He called Russia's big mistake the lack of active production of drones and military personnel who would professionally launch them. We haven't learned how to make people yet. Or rather, in order to make a person and then make a soldier out of him, many years are needed, then months of training, and only then, some of them perhaps, will become soldiers, because this also requires courage, fighting spirit, and many other military and masculine qualities. So what can I say? What should have been done a year ago? We did not do. What should have been done 2 years ago? We did not do. And 3 and 4. And so on and so forth. Now we will reap these fruits, and the fruits will be very bitter. Recall recently Ukrainian Special Operations Forces have destroyed a rare Russian remote mining system known as Zemledelie using FPV drones. The system was reportedly identified while operating near Ukrainian positions along the front line. Ukrainian drone operators initiated a series of precision attacks using first-person view drones after locating the vehicle. The Zemledelie system is a remote mine-laying platform mounted on an 8x8 armored KamAZ chassis equipped with two 25-tube launch modules. It is designed to rapidly deploy minefields at distances ranging from 5 to 15 kilometers by launching specialized rockets that scatter mines over a designated area. This is one of the few known instances of the system being used or captured on video during the war. Its destruction highlights the continued use of FPV drones by Ukrainian forces to target and neutralize high-value Russian engineering assets on the battlefield.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he and U.S. President Donald Trump have a common goal that does not involve coercion. President Trump and I have a common goal I know: achieve the release of our hostages. We want to end Hamas rule in Gaza. They want to make sure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel said Netanyahu Wednesday while visiting Capitol Hill. And pursuing this common goal, we have a common strategy. Not only do we have a common strategy, we have common tactics. This doesn't involve pressure, doesn't involve coercion, and involves coordination. President Trump wants to do, but not at any price. According to Associated Press, Trump met with Netanyahu for the second time in 2 days at the White House on Tuesday evening, but there was no sign of a breakthrough. Netanyahu has vowed to continue the 21-month war until Hamas is destroyed, while the militant group has said it will only release the remaining hostages in return for a lasting ceasefire and an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. As Israel and Hamas move closer to a ceasefire agreement, Israel says it wants to maintain troops in a southern corridor of the Gaza Strip, a condition that could derail the talks. An Israeli official said an outstanding issue in the negotiations was Israel's desire to keep forces in the territory during a 60-day truce, including in the east-west axis that Israel calls the Morag Corridor. The official spoke on condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to talk with the media about the negotiations. Keeping a foothold in the Morag Corridor is a key element in Israel's plan to drive hundreds of thousands of Palestinians south toward a narrow swath of land along the border with Egypt.
I completed a second meeting with President Trump. And I want to inform you something that will shock the various reports that come out. President Trump and I have a common goal. We want to achieve the release of our hostages. We want to end Hamas rule in Gaza. We want to make sure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel anymore. In pursuing this common goal, we have a common strategy. Not only do we have a common strategy, we have common tactics. This doesn't involve pressure, doesn't involve coercion, it involves full coordination. President Trump wants a deal, but not at any price. I want a deal, but not at any price. Israel has security requirements and other requirements, and we're working together to try to achieve it. Everything else that you hear and are being briefed on is false. It's about as accurate as the reports that you had before the Iran war, about the great tension between us, about the great disagreements between us. And I say, when will they ever learn? I don't know. It's not important. We're continuing, we're pursuing this, and I hope with impending success. We're not pushing out anyone, and I don't think that's President Trump's suggestion. His suggestion was giving them a choice. You have a choice. Where do you live, madam?
Here in D.C.
In D.C. Are you an American citizen?
Yes.
You think you have a right to go to another country if you seek to do so?
But sir,
But the Palestinians should have that right. It's called the freedom of choice and nothing more than that.
Sir,
No coercion,
Palestinian-
no forcible dislocation. If people want to leave Gaza, they should have the right to do so and not be held at a point of a gun of Hamas to keep them inside if they want to do it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Come on. Thank you. Come on, guys. Going back up.
The American press has posted an exclusive audio recording from 2024 online, in which Trump tells his sponsors about conversations with Putin and Xi. The US president admitted that he threatened Putin to attack Moscow if he decided to invade Ukraine, CNN reports. According to Trump, Putin did not believe what was said. However, as the US president said, the Russian president was still about 10% ready to take Trump's words seriously. Later, Trump addressed Xi Jinping with a similar text. He declared his readiness to bomb Beijing if China decides to annex Taiwan militarily. Like Putin, the Chinese leader also did not believe Trump's words. At the same time, the US president for some reason believes that Xi Jinping took his words seriously by 10%. At the same time, CNN journalists do not report when exactly Trump said such words to the leaders of Russia and China. If about Ukraine, then back in the years of his first presidency. Earlier, media reported that the Western press decided to look into Trump's turn towards Ukraine. Political scientists are confident that Trump's decision to resume military aid supplies to Ukraine is not a strategic turn towards Kiev, but a temporary concession. In fact, Trump is afraid of tarnishing his reputation if Ukraine does fall in the fight against Putin, so with his decision Trump wants to avoid a complete defeat of Ukraine, The Economist reports. When the Pentagon decided to suspend military aid to Ukraine, it came as an unpleasant surprise to both Washington's allies and the U.S. State Department. However, Trump later said that Ukraine needed to be armed so that it could defend itself from attacks by the Kremlin. The Pentagon's claims of reviewing its weapons stockpiles were in fact disinformation. Experts say the U.S. does have problems with air defense systems, but Ukraine gets the lion's share of its weapons not from Pentagon warehouses, but from production lines. With his decision, Trump humiliated the Pentagon and also showed that his decisions can come as a complete surprise even to his closest circle. At the same time, there is no need to rejoice that Trump allegedly went over to Ukraine's side. Supplies of more weapons that were provided for during Biden's presidency have been resumed. Trump's new budget does not mention Ukraine or aid for it. The biggest positive in all of this, Trump finally realized that Putin had been fooling him and leading him by the nose all this time. Also, if the U.S. abandons Ukraine, this move will be an even greater geopolitical disaster than the fall of Afghanistan in 2021.
Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, we're going to bomb out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. The public wants it. The public. the public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way, and I said, way. And then he goes like, I don't believe you, but the truth is he believed me 10%. And I told you this, he believed me 10%. Then I'm with President Xi of China, but I said the same thing to them. I said, you know, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Beijing. He thought I was crazy. He said, Beijing, you're going to bomb Beijing. I said, I have no choice. I got to bomb them. We're going to bomb Beijing. And he didn't believe me either, except 10%. And 10% is all you need. In fact, 5% would have been okay too. And we never had a problem. We would have never